Boom, guys, listen, we're back, and today we're talking about running. Okay, I get a lot of questions from people all the time. How do I want to start running, right? How do I start running? And people come to me with questions like, yo, you run so much and you have all these muscle, and how did you do that? And I'm gonna break that down in this video right here. And it's something I've talked about here in the past on this channel. And it's a very important point. I'm gonna break this down so easy for you to understand why this works and why it's the best approach to take in order to avoid injury and also progress faster. Because I've seen people, like, they implemented this stuff and it's like their 5K time, for example, it just got, boom, goes down. It's amazing, absolutely phenomenal. And what we're talking about today is essentially what I label as my frequency principle, I guess. And you see, like, typically when people go out and they want to start running, right? What they do is they lace on their shoes, right? Maybe this is you. They lace on their shoes and they, run out the door, right? And they go as long as they can. Wow, great run, right? And so either during that run, something either breaks, not that literally breaks, not like they're breaking bones. I mean, worst case, yeah, sure. But something like, oh, that didn't feel good, right? Maybe some injury. Who knows, right? Or they come back from it and they're like, I'm so stiff. That was horrible, right? Or they're out there and they're doing it wrong, right? And it's like, this feels bad, right? So you're getting all these bad stimuli and bad impressions from running, right? Which really is a really good process and something that can be not just like physically well, but for the mind too, and clearing up stuff like that. So that's not something you'd want to do, right? Because they come back, maybe they're getting injured, and then the whole perception of running is like off, and now maybe they're stiff too, so it's like, I'll do the next run in a few days, and it gets delayed and then it gets lost into the void, right? We want to avoid that, right? We want to stay consistent with stuff. That's the whole point, right? And the way people go about it is, right, they go out there, like I said, they do this big run, what we would say is volume and high intensity. In this case, they run fast, they run long, they just try to hammer it. And what I would always urge people to do, and what I teach people, is essentially to run as often as you can, and run not intense at all, not very long at all, but just often. Frequency. This is the key. And I'm gonna break it down by saying this, okay? Because a lot of people come like this. I wanna build my cardio. I wanna get a better cardiovascular system. I wanna, feel healthier. I want my heart to be better, right? That's their goal. And so what a lot of people don't understand is that it's not the fact that they have bad cardio. It's just that their running is off. I was at the pool the other day, and I've been doing a lot of swimming lately. It's phenomenal stuff, right? And if I were to tell you that I'm gonna go do swimming to improve my cardio, this is the key point. I want you guys to listen to this, because this is like bingo, right? When you hear this. If I told you, looking at this, that I want to go do swimming to improve my cardio, would I do a 3-kilometer swim? Like that's a distance, right? It takes an hour. Or would I do like longer distance? Would I do like super long distance? Would I do like, would I do that? Would I even do intervals? What would I probably do if I were to like go swimming? I hadn't done that much swimming before. I wanted to get started with swimming. I want to improve my cardio, and I'm going to do it with swimming, right? What would I do? I would go and learn swimming. I would go and learn how to crawl, right? Boom, boom, boom. And that's the key here, right? Because no one goes to like swimming and be like, I'm going to improve my cardio, and then they just go, just splash around. No, they approach things like, okay, today we're going to do, 500 meters. We're going to try and do the movements. We're going to try and crawl. Maybe they put up a tripod with some video, and they see, okay, maybe, that didn't look that good. Like when they look at the pros, when it's like, it looks so smooth. They don't even splash when they hit the water, right? That's the logical approach. Anyone would do that. Anyone would do that. No one would go to the pool and be like splashing around and being like that, which of course wouldn't be a bad thing, but it's just like very obvious in that sense, right? You need to learn the technique, right? And for some reason, people don't think about this when it comes to running. For some people, they think that you can just lace on some shoes and just run out the door, right? And you absolutely can. But like, if you want to get good at this stuff, technique comes first, form comes first. And that might sound boring, but it is the truth. But it's not as boring as you think, because with this process of frequency, right, we have a process that actually encourages you by showing up more, so you're training that consistency, right, the consistency mindset, but also it makes it really, really enjoyable. Because you don't have to go the long distance. You don't have to get completely depleted. You don't have to be like all the time. And the way this works is essentially that when it comes to running, it's not the fact that people have bad cardiovascular system by default, right? Some people do. Some people are fat. That's just the way it is, right? Some people have bad hearts. Some people just have bad cardio. That's the thing, right? But a lot of people I talk to, right? They have a standard build, and they're thinking that their cardio is off. Maybe because their running is off, right? And at some point, I thought that too, right? This is why I'm saying this to you. But it's not the fact that you have bad cardio always. It's the fact that you're so inefficient with your running that it feels like such a chore even to just run a little bit, right? It feels like a chore because you're dragging, you're doing all this stuff, right? And as soon as that is solved, you'll see the times go down, right? And so how do you progress that? How do you get more efficient? That's the question, right? Because your cardiovascular system is very, very good. It's very, very good. I swear to God, it's very good. And you'll see that once you improve this efficiency thing, but we have to go if we go from that direction first, we end up with a much better result and much quicker, okay? So what I tell people to do, like I said, is to show up more often to the treadmill, go outside more often, and just run, practice running. Treadmill is a great thing. I have a client I'm working with right now, his name is Jacob, doing phenomenal stuff. And you know, he sends me videos of how he is on the treadmill, right? Of his like feet when he's running, of his shoes, how they land, and all this stuff. And that's what we're working on. And so when I set up with people who work with me, it's the first period is just like fixing that. That's like the first bulk of it, and then the next thing is progression, because it doesn't take that long for it to actually, for it to actually see results with this. It's just fixing small stuff, and it's like, okay, we do that, over and over again, like repetitions. Just like you would go swimming. Okay, we need to focus more on this, focus more on that. Okay, we need to learn how to do this, like breathe and all this stuff, right? Which people always find that really difficult when it comes to the breathing when swimming. Which there is, frequency principle applies to as well, right? If we want to do that, with some exercises. So the way you do this then is by showing up every single day and doing running. And when I said this, right, because like we eliminate the risk of injury, and we also make it a really, really enjoyable process, rather, right? Getting some fresh air, getting on the treadmill, feeling like you did a workout, right? This is great, right? I think a lot of the stuff we do in life, right, this is a bit off topic. It's not always about being the strongest or being the fastest. It's a lot about just feeling strong, which is very important. But digression, I guess. So injury usually happens when form is off. And you see that very often if it's somebody who's been in the gym a lot. If your form is off, maybe your shoulder feels hurt, right? It doesn't take that much. So injury, it stems from like overcompensation in certain areas where they shouldn't, or like overuse of a certain, which is very rare, right? Because it's very rare that you're putting on way too much weight, that there must actually compensations happen here, which is like muscle tears and stuff like that, with like the tendons. That's very rare, right? For natural people who are not enhanced. And so when it comes to injuries, usually what causes it is fatigue due to form breakdown, right? And so it's not exactly like the muscles giving up, or it is to a certain point, right? But then the form breaks down as a cause of that, and that's when you have stuff compensating which shouldn't compensate. For example, my legs are tired, and now I'm running wrong, and then something, I'm running on something I shouldn't. Maybe my ankles suddenly break out. This is very common, right? So you know how the ankle, I'm not going to show you my ankle right now, but let's imagine this is an ankle, right? This is my foot I'm running at, and when my muscles in here, right, they get tired, this gets more loose, and suddenly I step on a rock, boom, right? So now we have an injury. So the ankle is twisted. My ankles feel bad, and we have an injury just like that. So that's one part of it, right? Just the muscles breaking down, and then form, or injury as a cause of that, right? But when it comes to form, the standards of it, the way you set out running, right? If you're overpronating, if you're dragging your feet, right? That's going to cause a lot of strain on certain muscles. which can cause injury, but also like the ligaments. It doesn't like that you're running off to the side like this. Well, I don't know, right? So that's the thing we need to fix, right? The form of it. And then, of course, the muscles. Yeah, because this is beautiful about this stuff too. Once you fix this stuff, the muscles and the endurance, I should probably save this point to the end, but it goes like this, right? So we fix the form, right? That's what we do in the beginning phase. We fix the form, and you become way more efficient. Your stride length, we fix all that stuff, right? The way, like how frequent your step is, where you place your feet. This is the thing, like this is the key to fixing this in the first place. Like thinking about all this stuff. When you're out running, you need to focus on, okay, how long is my stride? Where am I placing my feet? Right? You can even record yourself. If you're on a treadmill, you can hold your phone and you can just record yourself like this. I wouldn't advise it though, because then you're very conscious of it and you might just fix it for the video. But I would set up a camera and just see, okay, how are my feet placing? How does it feel? And it's not like you have to fit into a certain box, because there's a lot of people out there with weird running styles who run phenomenally well, right? So I'm not going to sit here and try to put you into a box, but there's certain stuff that people do which they probably shouldn't do, or they should actually try out in order to see, okay, is this more efficient? And most likely it will be, right? Perhaps for you too. There's probably stuff I need to work on too in order to make my, running even more efficient, right? And so it's something I'm conscious of too. Even to this day, I've been running ultra marathons, I've been running marathons, and I've been running fast, I've been running slow, all of it. And so it's something that I'm even conscious too. Like, how am I, pushing back with the legs? How much? How far? All this stuff needs to be the focus when we're doing this in order to fix our form. The first way of the way you solve a problem is by realizing that there is a problem, and so you need to focus on the facts that causing the problem. Right? You're not efficient enough in this stuff. So what you do, right? I'm gonna try and keep this simple and short, right? But I want you guys to show up every single day and run 1 kilometer. You don't have to run a mile even. You don't have to. You can run if you want, but you can just show up every single day, or every other day for the first 4 weeks. You can show up every other day for the first 4 weeks, and the next 4 weeks you can show up every single day. A part of this is not just form, but getting the feet and the muscles used to the load, right? This is why we don't also want to go out the door and just run, because the muscles aren't used to it, right? Overstraining, which causes injury, like we're overusing the muscle, right? Stuff that starts to compensate, boom, injury. Like I said, mixed with some bad form, recipe for disaster if you ask me, right? And so we're getting used to that load, our bodies, because running, what is running, right? You jump, it's basically a jump, right? Almost. And then, it's not completely a jump, but you're stepping, right? And then the weight of your body too, it's gonna load the feet as well, right? So it's not just body weight, it's body weight plus a bit of gravity, and your feet and ankles and all these small muscles, they need to get used to that. And we're not gonna go out there and do a big run, because now we're overloading it. We're just gonna do very, very short runs, very, very form focused, and where we're trying a lot of stuff. We're like, okay, what feels good? How do I feel the most efficient? That's a lot of parts of it. I feel this that part of it is really, really important. It's really, really key in this first phase of it. And you notice that real quickly once you actually start thinking about the stuff, the stride and all these foot placements, because for a lot of people, this stuff isn't even, like maybe you've been watching this, you haven't even considered that, oh, I should probably place my feet like a little bit better and all this stuff. And if you want to work with me on this, you can check the link below. I've worked with plenty of people, improve their running, sub 5K, sub 20 minute 5Ks all over. Easy stuff. I mean, this stuff is so easy once you just get into it. So if you want to do that, check the link. But people don't really know about these things, like the foot placement and how you should drive with your hips and all that stuff. And even for ultra marathoning, it's like a different type of stride. It's more of a shuffle. So it changes up even for what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. You can even do that. And so, yeah, I would suggest everyone to show up more often, shorten down the runs, shorten down the pace. You should have a little bit of pace though, because if you go too low on the pace, what happens is that you start to just trip, and now you're not really training your form. So you need for pace wise, at least. I would set myself a goal at 10 kilometers an hour I think that's a really good pace. I don't know how much that is in miles per minute or whatever. 10 kilometers per hour is a good starting point. And it's just like 1 kilometer. And then you record and you film like, okay, and you feel like, what is actually going on here? How am I feeling the most efficient? How am I landing on my feet, right? And this way of running, you're not going to even feel like it's a really big chore to get into running, because you can combine this with your workouts. You can combine this after work. You can combine this with, it takes really little time to implement this, which is the beauty of it. Because how busy you are, if you're, someone who has a family, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, fixing this, it doesn't take a lot of time. I think the big discipline of all this, right, is first of all to show up, right? But then, of course, it is to also limit yourself. To be like, hey, Notorious Nico told me to just do 1K, I'm gonna do 1K. And just end it there. Because if you go too high on the intensity scale, right, you're gonna end up with more fatigue and maybe not being able to do the next run session. We wanna get in as many run sessions as we can. Because all of this is basically just skill acquisition. This is how you develop any skill. You show up and you put in the work, and you're very conscious when you're doing the work. This is key too. Don't zone out to music. Okay, don't just zone out when you're doing this. Try and be present. This is why we're keeping it short too, because it's very easy to lock in for just a really short time. Be really focused. Okay, distractions away. Don't do this while you're talking on the phone. Just focus straightly on where am I placing my feet? How much am I driving with my legs? All this stuff. Everything. Shoulders. How much am I moving my hands, right? If you can do that, I swear to God, like, send me an update if you're doing this. If you want to get into running and you've seen this, send me an update. And I promise you, it's going to be like, you're just going to see your progress go up really fast. And if you're like, because this is something I do, right? You can time it. Like, okay, we're going to do like a 3K and you're going to test the time. And then you can do this for like, 4 weeks even. And you're going to see that time just go like, boom. I swear to God. And it sounds really, it might sound much simpler than it is, but it's true. It is really simple. I would even go to say that it is easy, It's not the same as simple and easy, but I would even go as far as saying that this is really easy. I'm not going to drag this on any further. I just really wanted to make this video because of the point of the swimming, right? It makes sense. Just think about it this way. If you wanted to learn swimming, you wouldn't go out there and do like a longest swim you could, the fastest swim you could. You would go in there and you would learn the technique. You would learn how to move your hands. This is something I'm learning more too. I'm learning to be more efficient when I'm swimming, because I'm always like, okay, my breathing, should I do this? Should I do that? I'm always thinking about it, right? And it's been gotten better. I've been doing it for quite a few years now. So I'm getting there too. So this is something I'm using on a daily, essentially, in order to improve. And this pretty much is a blueprint for you to actually go ahead and get really good progression really fast when you want to start running. So I wanted to just keep it short like that. It just didn't really keep that short, but it is what it is. Gave you guys the blueprint. That's what I'm here to do, make you stronger. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Take care. Let me know how it goes, and God bless.